Okay, welcome to the Maplewood Heritage Preservation Commission meeting on Thursday, April 14th, 2022. It is 7 o'clock and we will start our meeting. Welcome all. Roll call. First, I'll give the roll call here and please indicate your presence. Margaret Fett. Margaret is not here. John Gasper.
Here.
Richard Curry.
Here.
David Hughes.
Here.
Barbara Kern.
Here.
Jason DeMoe.
Present and accounted for.
Okay, and our staff member is Joe Sharon.
Thanks. Here.
Thank you.
Does Joe have a name tag to be put on?
No, I guess I'm going to have to call building ops and get one made.
We just call him no name?
Yeah.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Is there anything anyone wants to add to the agenda? I'll add something right under new business. The 60 stories, and that's what I passed out on the book, 60 stories. That'll be tagged on to the People A Heritage Preservation Award. Anyone else, anything?
Yeah, correction on number 1, it should be voting for the Heritage Preservation Award. 2, under unfinished business,
Wait a minute, what's number 1?
1 is accepting, it says accepting nomination of People A. It should be voting for People A. Technical glitch.
Actually, if we're gonna do it that way, I would go. I appreciate you pointing it out. I would probably say voting for the Heritage Preservation Award.
Right,
Yeah, and then I would take out People A.
right. The other correction should be unfinished 2, recruiting of new it should be new commission members.
Apologies. Thank you.
No,
Minor.
Recruitment instead of recruitment, are you saying something?
No, commission.
Commission. And 3, to get new members, name tags,
You want?
wearable name tags.
Okay, so we
So
can,
that could go somewhere.
yeah, we'll just,
So we can make that E4.
E4, E2, whatever.
I've never had one.
you need
I've
one.
never had a name tag.
He's been here way longer than me, and he hasn't had one either.
The first one they gave me was spelled wrong. They spelled my name wrong. And they said, well, we'll replace it. And that was probably
Never
10 years
got it.
ago.
Never got it back.
We
Okay.
don't know who would do something like that in the city, do we?
Is there any additional comments on the approval of the agenda or any changes?
And I move it approved.
I second it.
Are there any other additions to the agenda? Okay, the agenda is prepared. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Okay. Move on to approve of the minutes. Everybody have their minutes in front of them for March 10th, 2022. Anybody need to make a correction or addition? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Okay, the minutes are approved. We'll move on to new business. And our staff, Joe Sharon, go ahead, start number 1. Joe?
Well, every year it's good that we're back on track. During COVID, we kind of lost track of this and kind of were off schedule, but now we're back on a normal schedule with this. The Maplewood Heritage Award is given annually. This year we put a call out on the website and through social media. One person was nominated, Pete Boulay, who was the former chair of this. I believe Commissioner Cardinal forwarded that nomination, so if you want to speak in favor of your nomination, and from there, I would, I guess, request a formal vote.
Okay, his resume was included Pete Belay's been a member for quite a while. He's got a lot of history here in Maplewood as author and participating on the commission
And the society.
and the Maplewood Area Historical Society. I would want to make note of Pete's involvement in our book, The 60 Stories. That's what I passed out, was that, what's it called? It's called this, title of the work, 60 Stories of Maplewood History, and Pete contributed it on this certificate of registration. And you can see the other names: Pete Belay, Nicole de Guzman, Elaine Exted, Virginia Gaynor, Frank Gilbertson, Bob Jensen, Brenda Rudberg, Chris Suter, and Mike Steinmetz. So recognize that. And then just for the public's edification, this is what the book looks like, 60 stories. And our executive director for the Maplewood Area Historical Society has plenty of these available over at the farm. And I think they're $15. So anybody who wants to know anything about Maplewood is probably, that should be known. It's in here, this book, and it's a very simple read, $15. Okay, we have the acceptance of the nomination of Pete Belay.
Is there
Any comments, anyone?
any other nominations?
We have one.
You can go 3 times and then you can call for the vote.
Yeah, we have one nomination. Any other comments about our nomination of Pete Belay? Anyone?
I'll move that we put them in.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Jason? Richard makes the motion, and Jason makes the second to award the Heritage Preservation Award to Pete Belay. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Pete Belay.
And as custom, we will reach out to the manufacturer of the signage and get a plaque, and we will work with Pete and the council calendar to recognize him formally at the city council meeting that is of most convenience in the near
Can we
future.
also get the other 2 that have not received it?
Yes, unfortunately, when we were going to award them, COVID hit. We did reach out to see if they wanted to appear on the phone or on the Zoom. I did not get a response, but I will reach out again. I believe Mr. Chair Cardinal has probably a better relationship with,
Judge Bastian.
yeah, Judge Bastian.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Now, I still have the plaques in my office, so I'm waiting. I didn't even get the addresses to mail them, so I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure we could probably have a CSO drop them off, or we can mail them at some point.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Joe. Okay, that completes number 1. Number 2, discuss local landmark designation grant application. Joe.
So this came through as part of our designation as a local certified government. Part of our duty annually is to at least look into and try to approve at least one property or place for either the local designation, historic designation, or the national historic designation. Fortunately, this year, the initial round of grants to help us work through that process, the State Department of Administration, which oversees this, they offer grants for cities of our size and our designation to sort of work through the process of this. Fortunately, this year, the initial round of grants was far less than what was allotted, so they opened the grant process back up. And an application, if we are interested in a grant, is due June 3rd. of this year. The timeline on what I had printed out is off. I reached out to Mr. Cope, who runs this program. Unfortunately, there were a typo in the time frame, but essentially, as you see there, we would apply in June 3rd, 2020, and then the program, we couldn't start the work until, once we found out if we were granted or not. The earliest is August 1st, we would actually start the work of this. And then we would have to have the work completed by around August, July of 2023. There are several types of grants that we could apply for. The one that you see on, I didn't number the pages, but the one you see on the back end of this page, it says, titled Final Applications. You could see there's a 7-point review process, and this would be, again, for the grant that walks us through the local designation. One of the things that they highlight to be a priority for grants is that it fits in with their goals and strategies for 2022 and through 2032. One of the things they highlight is the historic designation of underdocumented groups of communities, ethnic, racial, minority, or other, for example, and also defining the groups themselves as communities. So we have a couple of options to go there. Our planning department had put together a list for the 2040 comprehensive plan of places that would be potentially historic. You see there the what's on the National Registry of Historic Places already is the Ramsey County Poor Farm, and again, the local designation for the state designation is the Bruntrip Heritage Farm and the Gladstone Savannah Preserve. Following down there is a list that was compiled also through the 2014 Historic Context Study and other studies, a list of potential sites and properties that would qualify. If we are looking to, comply, again, it's completely up to the commission how they want to go on, how you want to go on this. But if you are looking for communities that are sort of underrepresented in historical designation, I know that St. Jerome's at this point is over on Roselawn and McMenemy is a Catholic school and church that caters to or has a high population of an Asian population, as well as in our Gladstone area, the Gladstone neighborhood is the Islamic Center. They're the two that would qualify not qualify, but would be good recipients there. As you see in that criteria and rating system, they're asking for a lot of information, a lot of due diligence up front so that they know the project is going to be worthwhile. So that's why I wanted to start this conversation now with the deadline being June 3rd. I want to get a sense of where the commission wants staff to go with this so we could do some serious research between now and the May meeting, and then by the May meeting have a solid plan in place to then be able to present on June 3rd. I have reached out to Michael Cope again, who is the administrator. Unfortunately, because of other events going on in the city this week, I did not get a chance to connect with him. But I will reach out tomorrow or early next week. So I at this point, Commissioner Cardinal, I push it back to you to open it up for discussion.
Okay.
Bob?
Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Anyone have any comments on the discussion here? Richard?
Okay. You know I'm going to have it, Joe, because we talked about this when I brought a whole file in, right? Here's 2 pages of places that we've already looked at for a historic deal. Then, to get this thing, here's the book that I printed out. It has all the descriptions of what we have to look for. Every one of us should have one of these. The only thing is, it cost me over $100 to get all this printed and the book and paper. So that's something that the city's I know the city doesn't want to spend it, but this is something that will be used all the time by us.
All that stuff is online.
Yeah, it's all online, but for the ink and for the paper, for the notebook, it was over $100.
What he's trying to say is you don't have to spend all that money to print it. You can go on your computer, type it in, see all those words right there.
No, you have to have it in paper. You can't be at a meeting and somebody comes to you and says, we want to do X, Y, Z at this building. You won't know anything because you don't have the computer to, you don't have it all the time. You can't look 200 and some pages up.
Well, that's good to know. Okay, so any other comments?
I've got some information, we talked about the 100-year-old homes. I've got all the information that we had for the last time.
Good.
Listing all the homes with the dates.
Good.
So some of those might move up then to the 100-year home. And I have this drive. This is for the Poorhouse Cemetery. It has all the information, including the names and the plots of all the people that they buried there and stuff like that.
Probably be very beneficial for our staff to get their hands on that, right? You won't have to look it up. Okay,
He's got the disc and I got the management plan.
good. There it is.
So can I ask, are we going to stay within this criteria, which would give us an opportunity to get this grant? Or are we going to go searching through some other things that we don't know?
No, we gotta
Because
get
it
the
sounds like
grant.
we got a really short deadline if we're going to attempt to get this grant. So I guess I kind of agree with Joe. We need to look at maybe these two sites. They're accessible. I'm sure we can get the information on them. And then plan some of these other ones for the following year when we have more time to go and really research them.
Well, St. Jerome's is on one of our lists here.
Good.
Yes, and that's why I flagged both of those locations, because both St. Jerome's and the Islamic Center, both of these you have to weigh in with. I mean, as you know, I read through there's a 20-page document that walks you through sort of the steps and the processes and the checklists you have to do. And again, just this first step is only to get the grant to actually do the legwork down,
Is
but you need
down
some
the
preliminary
road.
things.
But I'd say let's go and get the grant, try to get the grant.
Well, is there a
Or the other way we could do it is maybe we recognize a group as the other option. But I think, especially when you consider the city's, and I hope I'm not getting too far ahead of our development folks, but when you consider the city's development plan, I don't think St. Jerome's is part of any development. So it's not like, there are parts of the city where we are looking to buy property, acquire property to create new redevelopment. I don't believe St. Jerome's would ever be a part of that. I'm not sure about the Islamic Center, though.
Any other comments? John, do you have any thoughts?
No,
Okay, so let's identify those two sites. Let's see, what do we call it? The Islamic Center, former branch library off of Frost Avenue, north of Frost, and Gladstone School. And then St. Jerome's, which is located on Rose Lawn and McMenemy. What's the flavor of what's the will of the commission? David, do you want to suggest those two? Make a motion to include those two?
Sure, I'll make a motion for us to look at St. Jerome's. I would guess we're looking at the church,
Yes.
because the school's relatively new. So it would be the-
1951.
Well, the school's been added to,
Yeah, a little
so
add-on.
very recently.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the St. Jerome's Church and the Islamic Center, which is the old branch
Library.
library. So I
Okay.
make a motion that we research those two for the possibility of a grant.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Barbara. Any further discussion? Take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so Joe, that's the direction, local landmark designation grant application.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to unfinished business, the demo applications. Joe?
Yes, I keep this on here as a sort of a standing item. I checked in with our building department. They don't have any demo permits from the last time we met till now. I'll keep it on as a standing item. One thing I do want to note is that I believe, I don't believe I told the group this the last time, but for the Ramsey County Poor Farm Barn, Burntrip Heritage Farm, and Gladstone Savannah, our building department has put a flag in the software so that if anyone applies for any kind of permit or building at those places or anything at those places, the software automatically flags it as being on our historic list to come to review through this commission.
But
Very good. Richard,
the-
do you have a comment?
yeah, the tear down or the, is supposed to be all demo permits for the whole year.
Yes, and we.
It was originally, when we set this commission up, it was gonna go each time demolition permit came in. We were still refining our ordinance, so we said, let's make it a year. That's why from January to January, that's when all the demos. Now I'm almost thinking maybe we should do it every month.
Yeah, so here's my question, and I didn't realize that, but I figured to keep things up to date, because if you wait a full year, something could get knocked down. I was figuring just for the purposes of better record keeping, just check in on the demos every month.
Well, that's how it originally was, but
Yeah.
we didn't want to put so much work on
Yeah.
the building
Yeah.
department.
I think that's a good idea, Joe. Thank you for doing that. Richard, anything else? Anyone else? Anything? Okay, we'll move on to recruitment of new commission members. Joe?
Thank you, Commissioner and board members. Margaret Fett, tonight would have been her last meeting. She tendered her resignation to this commission. If she was here, we would say thank you for her service. I will probably put together some kind of resolution to be announced at City Council, thanking her and recognizing her several years of service to this commission, which brings up an opening going into the next year. Again, we could go a lot of different directions with this, but we are looking to, if you look around the board, there's a lot of homogeny on this current commission. I'm not sure the timeline when we're going to put out for new recruits for this commission, but if anyone has friends, neighbors, people who would be interested in serving, please connect us. What we're looking for, and actually what we need by our state charter, is we need an archaeologist on this commission. We also need a historian on this commission, and then we need a historical architect on this commission. Those are the three that are not theoretically, but technically required. Now, if we try to recruit that and we don't get it, that's okay, according to Mr. Cope from the state. The other option is someone who has these expertises, who lives outside of the city of Maplewood, could serve as an ex officio member as well. So again, if your friends or colleagues, you know someone who lives outside Maplewood but has an interest in Maplewood with this background, who wants to serve as an ex officio member, again, to provide some of the guidance around, again, some of the discussions when it comes to what to preserve, what task to preserve as, how to, research into these issues better. So I don't know if we need a discussion on this. I just want folks to be aware that we'll be the commissioners
Okay.
to be aware.
Joe, I did talk to
Richard?
Michael Coop. That's why he probably got hold of you, because all the headache that I went through when I said about, when you told me we don't have anybody on this commission that's certified to be on the commission, I asked him, he said, no, it is if the person has an interest in the history of the city, they have to live in the city.
Yes, they have to live in the city, and that's what I was, to your point, they can be an ex officio member, which means they could sit on the commission, but they can't vote, is what Michael Cope told me. They could sit on the commission as an advisory role, but they don't have a vote. So again, that would be up to the commission to decide whether or not, and the council, whether or not that would, I believe the ultimate decision's up to the council because they're the ones who approve who sits on the commissions.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to number 3, update on summer associate grant application.
Thank you. This one I'm actually going to put Mr. Bolesky on the spot for. We, as you know, we had put together a grant to the state State Historical Commission, Minnesota Historical Commission, to get a summer associate to help us put together sort of a timeline, an interactive digital timeline of the history. We had gotten back some favorable initial paperwork back, some feedback. We needed to make a few corrections or a few additions to the application, and we successfully submitted that on March 11th. Now we're on to the timeline of kind of a wait and see. Mr. Molesky is our partner with the Maplewood Area Historical Society, who is the key liaison with the State Historical Society.
To welcome TJ Malasky. He is the executive director of our Maplewood Area Historical Society. Welcome, TJ. Your comments.
Thank you, Chair Cardinal and Commissioners, Mr. Sharon. Yes, so again, we initially applied for a pre-app for our joint partnership grant through the Minnesota Historical Society, which is roughly $74,000, I believe. And that would hire for a year a full-time history and heritage communications associate that would be shared between the city and the Historical Society 50-50. Along with that, we would hire a consultant that would work between the Maplewood Area Historical Society and the city of Maplewood to further look at building a stronger relationship between the two organizations and what that might look like in the future. So that's what the total of that grant would cover. When we initially applied with the pre-app, and this is a very long process because it's considered a large grant through the Minnesota Historical Society, the pre-app got a lot of great feedback back, and then we applied with the final grant after taking that feedback, which was very positive, and Commissioner Kern and Mr. Sharon have worked with me on that. I believe Commissioner Kern said, whoa, there's a lot of feedback here. There was a lot. And that's a good thing, because that means that they really wanted to set us up for success. So I took that as a really good return. We submitted that grant, and we made it through the next round. I will be speaking to the grants committee on the 21st on behalf of our grant. I get 3 minutes to sell it, so that's what we'll hopefully be doing on the 21st. So that's where we're at with that grant right now. I know that this specific type of partnership grant that we applied for generally does not have a lot of applications. Of course, this year, the year we decide to apply, it has more than normal. So we're up against some competition, but I do feel good about it regardless of what the outcome is. I think it shows a continued growth in the relationship between the city and the Historical Society, which I'm very proud of, and I hope as commissioners and staff you're proud of that as well. So that's what I have to update on that.
TJ, do you have a calendar when that's going to occur?
So the 21st of this month is when I will speak to the committee.
Okay.
And then they will make decisions. They will have an open committee meeting with discussion which is not always easy to listen to, but it is open to the public to listen to. They will have their feedback at that time, and then they'll go into closed committee, and that could take weeks for them to make their final decision. But I expect we will hear by I'm hoping mid-May, we will have a final result on that. If not, by the end of May probably at the latest. So I will keep you all abreast of any information that comes forward.
Any other questions or comments for TJ? That's it, TJ. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to F. F1 is Maplewood Area Historical Society. And this is also for our Executive Director of Maplewood Area Historical Society. And as you're getting comfortable there, TJ, I should mention that Jason DeMoe is our Secretary for Maplewood Area Historical Society. And I serve on the board. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you again. And so I think we've got some stuff coming up at the Historical Society. It is, as I've told the board and folks, it's grant season. We are still in grant season through probably May, so I'll be applying for a number of grants. I've applied for a number of grants. I again want to thank Commissioner Kern and Mr. Sheeran for helping with the partnership grant, and also Commissioner Kern has been working with me on looking into getting a small grant that would jumpstart some oral history collection here in the city as well. So Commissioner Kern, thank you for that, help with that. One thing I really want to push, we've got a pop-up event happening on April 28th, and I would really encourage you all to attend. It's at 7 at night. It's a Thursday. It's called Let's Talk About Ukraine. So we have Irina Fersman will be speaking. Dr. Irina Fersman will be speaking. She's a Ukrainian, of Ukrainian descent and a Ukrainian immigrant. And so she'll be speaking about her story, and we will talk a little bit about the history of the relationship between Russia and Ukraine, and what's happening in the war right now. So I would encourage you all, I would hope you would all attend that evening to support and learn more. Please spread the word. I have no information to hand out right yet. We just nailed this date down this afternoon. So as soon as I do, that will be put up on our Facebook. Feel free to take it off Facebook and do what you will with it to help promote the event. If you would like any specific flyers or anything for specific communities that you're a part of, your church or club groups or anything like that, please let me know and I'd be happy to make some up for you. So again, that's April 28th, 7 p.m. Let's Talk About Ukraine. That will be in the barn at the Bruin Troop Heritage Farm. What else do we have going on? May 15th, we have our Big Red Barn Folk Arts Fair, which we do twice a year, and that is a big fundraiser for us. We have some food trucks this year, which will be fun. I think we have more vendors this year than we have ever had before. That is, now I can't remember the time of the Big Red.
It's 11 to...
It's 11 to 3, I think.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
a
does that sound
Sunday,
right?
isn't it? Isn't it, TJ? It's Sunday?
It is a Sunday.
Sunday.
Yep, it's Sunday, May 15th.
That's a Sunday after Mother's Day.
Yes, correct. So come on out, check out some local artisans and get some food and hang out on the farm. Hopefully we won't have snow. I'm hoping it's a lovely day. We've had really good luck with the weather for this event before, so I'm hoping that sticks. We'll also have farmers markets starting every Sunday at the farm, and that's in conjunction with our farmers markets and open house. So not just a farmers market, but we'll have our open houses as well. So we'll have limited house tours. Our exhibits will be open. We'll have some hands-on demonstrations and crafts for people to partake in, and learning history, as well as supporting and celebrating our local agricultural heritage. So that will start on Sunday, and that will be every Sunday, starting June 5th from 9 until 1. I'm really excited about that. I think that'll be a great way to connect folks to history at the farm and have some good local food on top of it. We have, for me, one of the biggest things we've got coming up is our camp season. So we have 5 weeks of camps coming up this summer, which I'm super excited about. We've expanded camps this year. Camps are near and dear to my heart. That's how I got involved with the Historical Society 8 years ago, by writing the curriculum for the farm-to-table camps. So These are pretty great camps. They usually sell out. We're well ahead of where we normally are for enrollment at this time of year. So if you know any little ones that would like to come out to the farm for a week, get them signed up now. We have Farm to Table Camp for entering grades 1 through 3 on July 11th through 14th, July 18th through the 21st, and August 1st through 4th. We have Farm to Table Camp for entering grades 4 through 6 on August 8th through 11th. We have Arts on the Farm for entering grades 4 through 6 on July 25th through the 28th. And really exciting this year, we have Hmong Language and Culture Camp at the farm. We are the only Hmong Language for youth camp this summer. Concordia is no longer holding their Hmong Language camp. So this is a really exciting thing for the city, I think. It's something we can all be proud of. And that is for grades 3 through 7, July 25th through the 28th. So I'm excited to pilot this program this year with Vivang Mao, another Maplewood resident who is a Hmong language instructor at the University of Minnesota. I think that's what I have. Are there questions, or do you need me to repeat
One
dates
question.
at all?
Richard, do you have a question?
Now, when are the newsletters coming out? I haven't received anything since December.
Newsletters are now being turned back to the board. So the board will be handling the newsletters. I will take some onus in that. We've been focusing on our social media, which is reaching thousands and thousands of folks. So we have actually one of the most, the strongest social media of any local historical society in the state right now, which is pretty great. So I made the decision to focus on that because we were reaching more people and getting history out more in that direction. The board has decided that they would take on sending out the newsletters, so that is being handed back to the board. I will still contribute, but I want to thank the board for taking on that duty as well. So thanks for bringing that up, Richard.
Any other questions, or Joe?
I would just second what TJ had said about social media and Facebook. I've been monitoring social media for the Heritage Farm since I've been here about 5 years ago, and I could tell you that their traffic and their sort of the frequency is way up. And as folks who start to, as Facebook becomes more of a thing for parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, people I think are engaging in that new technology. Not everyone, a lot of people do have one of these things, and it's a great way to do it. It helps really cut costs, gets people directly, and I believe the social media, the great aspect of that is you start to get immediate feedback. You could see there's opportunities for people to literally click, show interest, so you could gauge if you're resonating or if your event is resonating with your audience.
Okay, so TJ, if they show up on Big Red Barn sale, they can
We're
pick
gonna
up
have
a
'em.
book. You're gonna have. I know
I'm gonna have 'em.
you got a couple extra books there.
I got more than a couple, so
Okay,
we can,
and so are you gonna give them away for 15 or what?
I think they're 16 actually.
60. Ooh, wow.
I know that extra buck's gonna kill you, right?
Okay, so
You can sell that one too.
Big Red Barn sale. Get your history on Maplewood, and you get your fix there on that Sunday the 15th. It's the 15th, May.
The 15th of May, yep.
So please get a good turnout there, and there's plenty of parking. You might have to walk a little bit, but it's a good day.
Yeah,
So,
it's great. Thank you,
thank
Chair
you,
Cardinal.
TJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, there we go. Anything else? Anyone have anything? Secretary of the Maplewood Area Historical Society, you have anything you want to bring?
Oh,
Okay.
have nothing to report other than I still have to create the minutes from our last meeting.
Okay, so everyone should know that Jason's been on the commission now a couple years here,
Yeah, here, yep.
and he has dove into our Maplewood Area Historical Society, is now the secretary. He's that's an officer's position, and he's loving it, right, Jason? So we're fortunate to have him. So. I know we have a meeting in May, and it'd probably be about the 5th of May.
Yeah, but
Right.
that's a.
He was asking about the
board
annual
meeting.
meeting.
Annual meeting.
We'll talk about that. I guess
We're not
it'll
there
come
yet.
up. Yeah, that's not on the calendar right now, so.
August.
Okay. Any other
There you go,
comments?
August.
Anything else? Joe, do we have anything else?
No, that's it. I want to thank everyone for coming in tonight. I appreciate it. I know tonight was a holiday for folks, and I tried to keep the agenda as light as possible for folks who wouldn't be able to make it, but I appreciate the full attendance. Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll
thank you.
move for adjournment.
First, I'd like to thank Joe for his staffing our commission, and TJ, thank you for being here. Let's see if there's anything else we need to talk about.
Motion, you gotta go.
Remember, now we have an opening on the commission, so if there's somebody that feels they'd like to participate, we'd like to have them. All right? So we'll enjoy Easter this Sunday, and we're adjourned.